This is Lesson 36, Part 1, Order of Operations, Level 1, and there will be more levels, so be ready. Go ahead and write the title into your notes. Push play when you're ready to begin. Order of operations is the order that we need to take care of our operations, operations being the calculations, multiply, divide, add, subtract, exponents. So there's a specific order that we need to go in to get the answer right. If we go out of order, we are going to get the answer wrong. So make sure you go in the right order. This may be very familiar to you. Either last year you might have covered this, or earlier in the year for some of you. And you might have heard it referred to as PEMDAS. A lot of people refer to order of operations as PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But I do want you to be careful with wording it as PEMDAS, because right around here things get a little bit confusing if you let your kind of train your brain to think that M comes before D all the time, or A comes before S all the time. So we'll be talking about that. For now, I want you to go ahead and put this information into your notes. P is for parentheses. Parentheses look like this, and sometimes they look like these. Exponents, we've covered exponents recently. Those are the ones that have the base and the baby number. That is so cute. Multiply, divide, or divide, multiply. This is where I said it can be confusing if you think of things as just PEMDAS, because these things need to happen at the same time. One can come before the other. It depends on, and that's what this arrow is about, it depends on which comes first as you read from left to right. So if I had a math problem like this, then the first one that comes across is subtract. So I'd have to do subtract first. But if I had a math problem that looked like this, oh, wait a minute, sorry, back up. Erase. I can't erase. All right, well, let's pretend that was divide and that was multiply. There. Then divide would come first. If I had a math problem that looked like this, 3 times 4 divided by 2, then multiply would come first, because it's the operation that comes first as you go across. Then on add, subtract, or add, that meant to make that capital, but whatever, you understand what I'm getting at. It's the same thing. That's what this arrow is about. It's whatever comes first as you read across. So if you have a problem that looks like this, just like before, then subtract would come first. But if you had a problem that looked like this, then add would come first, because it's the one that you stumble across between those two, the one that you stumble across first, that gets taken care of. So it's so I usually put it in this way, where multiply, divide are on the same line, and it doesn't hurt to put this for your brain next to it, that it could come in that order too. With the little arrow, you could even draw the arrow across it like this, so that it tells your brain it's whichever comes first on the line. Okay, so here's our first we do, and we'll go ahead and do this one together, so make sure you get it copied in your notes. And for the purposes of this lesson, we're going to keep things fairly simple. I'm not going to throw at you some gigantic order of operations problems, but we will be building up into Part 2, Level 2 of the lesson, Level 3 of the lesson, Level 4 of the lesson. So it's going to build up into something complex, so make sure you're understanding it at this level very clearly. All right, so we have 3 to the second plus parentheses 2 minus 1. And I get my kids usually in the habit of doing a checklist, because then you can make sure you go in the right order. So we're checking for parentheses first, P first. And we do have some parentheses right here. And so whatever's in the parentheses needs to be taken care of first. So I'm going to take care of that. 2 subtract 1 is 1. Cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't do. So you'll hear me say that a lot. Cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't. Waffle bites. This math order of operations is all about little waffle bites. Don't shove the whole waffle in your mouth. So then I check and see, are there any more parentheses left? Nope, that's all. So I can cross it off. Check. Next I'm going to check for ease, which is exponents. So are there any exponents here? Oh yeah, you betcha. 3 to the second. Remember the super stubborn step, Sanchez's super stubborn step. Write it out. That's 3 times 3, which is 9, plus, cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't. Check your list. Are there any more exponents? No. It's a new math problem each line, right? So no more exponents. Is there any multiplication or division in my new math problem? No. Cross it off, move down the next line. Is there any add or subtract? Yes, there is. 9 plus 1 is 10. So my answer is 10. Okay, this is we do number 2. And go ahead and write this out as 4 to the third minus parenthesis 4 plus 1 parenthesis to the second. And I'll show you how to handle that if it's outside the parenthesis. And the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is write your checklist. PEMDAS. All right. So the checklist says start with our parentheses, and here inside these parentheses I have this to do. So that's what goes first. So I underline it, and 4 plus 1 is 5. Now that I've taken care of everything in the parentheses, there's nothing else, no other operations in there that need care. So I'm done. I can cross it off and bring down what you didn't. Well, that exponent, this exponent here, was never dealt with, so just bring him on down to hang on to the 2 there. Bring everything down that you didn't do. Are there any more parentheses? Nope, those are clear. Once those are clear, I can move to the next level. Exponents. Yeah, I have an exponent here. Do Mrs. Sanchez's super stubborn step over to the side. That's 4 times 4 times 4, which is 16 times 4, which is 64. 64 is a lot different than 12, which is a common mistake people will make. They'll see the 4, they'll see the 3, their brain says 4, 3, 12. But that's not what this means. That's why I say do the super stubborn step to make sure you get it right. Cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't, and check your steps. Exponent, are my exponents cleared? No, I still have one here. Underline it. That is the same as 5 times 5. Mrs. Sanchez has a super stubborn step there. That's 25. Cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't. Check your steps. Are all exponents clear? Yes, they are. Any multiplication or division here in your new math problem? No, there's not. Cross it off. Any addition or subtraction? You betcha. 64 subtract 25. That is, I'm going to have to borrow 6, 5. That's a 9, and that's a 3. The answer is 39. I call this pizza math because it works its way into kind of a simpler problem all the way down. And so like the original problem is the crust, and the answer is the piece of pepperoni on there. Pizza math. Now you're hungry, aren't you? Notice off to the side I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. All right, for me, that's like putting these super beautiful happy faces all over your paper. I like that stuff, so don't be erasing that stuff. I think it's very pretty. So leave it there on your paper for me to admire. Okay, let's go for a you do. We may mess it up, but we might not. So let's see where we mess up, if we mess up at all, so we know what we're getting hung up on. So go ahead and do the you do. We've got parentheses 3 minus 2, subtract 1 plus 4. Put your checklist there. You want to get in the habit of writing your checklist. It doesn't take you that long, and it makes sure that you go in the right order. It takes you seconds to write that down. Push pause, find the answer, push play when you've got an answer. Okay, so you have an answer. Here I go. I need to take care of my parentheses first. There's some parentheses. 3 take away 2 is 1. Now that there's no other operations in the parentheses, I can drop the parentheses. I'll try to speak English. So there are no more parentheses. I check those off. I look to see if there's any, cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't do, and continue on to the next math problem, which is this here. Are there any exponents in it? No. So I could go ahead and cross off exponents and move down to the next row. Multiplication or division? No. So cross it off and move down to the next level. Add or subtract? Yes, and remember with this row, it's not that addition is first and then subtraction. That's what the mistake people make a lot, so we need to make sure our brains fix that. Remember how in the notes earlier on I had drawn an arrow through those? It's add or subtract, whichever shows up first. Well, if I'm coming across here, the one that shows up first between the two of them, add and subtract, is subtract in this problem. I have to do that first. 1 take away 1 is 0. Cross off what you did, bring down what you didn't, and then 0 plus 4 is 4. If you did it the opposite way, make sure you erase it and fix it in your notes so that it's done correctly in your notes. Look at that pretty pizza math. Pizza, there's the crust, there's the pepperoni. Okay, you do number 2. This is the final you do, so let's see how you do. On this one, this is 3 to the third power plus 5 times, parentheses 6 plus 2 equals, and we'll have to figure it out. Put your checklist off to the side, just takes a second, PEMDAS, so that you stay in the right order. Push pause, get an answer, push play when you're ready to go. Okay, so you hopefully got some sort of an answer. I'm going to start here. We have a parenthesis first. That's right here. And 6 plus 2 is 8. Now that there's no other operations in those parentheses, I can drop them off. Bring down what I didn't do. Little waffle bites at a time. Any more parentheses? No, not in that problem, so check it off. Are there any exponents in this next level of the problem? Yes, right here, 3 to the third. Your brain's going to want to say 9. No, 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 it's not 9 because you do Mrs. Sanchez's super stubborn step. That's 3 times 3 times 3, which is 9 times 3, which is 27. Be careful. Cross off what you did. Bring down what you didn't. Check for your next step. Are there any more exponents? No, those are clear. Cross them off. Is there any multiplication or division? Yes, right here. That goes next. So take care of that. 5 times 8 is 40. Cross off what you did. Bring down what you didn't. And check your steps. Is there any multiplication or division left? No, those are clear. Check them off. Pachow. Is there any add or subtract? Yes, there is. There's 27 plus 40. I don't know in my head. I could just do it real quick right here. 7 there, 6 there. Your answer is 67. Pizza, crust, and pepperoni. And don't erase these things here because these make Mrs. Sanchez happy. Yay! Oh. Okay, well, if this makes sense to you, get your closure questions and show me that you get it. If you're still unsure, you can rewind to any point in the lesson to hear it again. And if that doesn't help, come see me. We'll practice a few together.